Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave, and this is...
I'm Jake. Sorry, Dave, cut you off.
I didn't know how I was going to do it, because before, when I've gone, I'm Dave, you just sat there. So I had to go, and this is...
Well, because I know you.
Okay, this is fair. Yeah. But it's not just us talking.
That's true.
It's, Although, yep, okay, Scott is in the chat. Hi, Scott. Welcome. I'm just going to check our stream health. Stream is healthy. Stream health is excellent, it says. So,
standing.
Hopefully that means that we'll be all good for the show. Yay!
Okay.
But yes, so I think just quickly,
Sure.
we can jump in and talk about your hobby enthusiasm.
Oh, it's beyond measure. Like I don't.
I meant for your Horus Heresy project.
Oh, okay. So I've been going back and forth, weighing lists and trying to figure out what I wanted to run, and I played a couple games over the weekend, and I just ran a real simple list just to get used to the way that units work and stuff like that. And I was woefully disappointed with how my infantry worked. And I remembered that there's a reason why I don't like infantry lists. And to clarify, I mean I don't like tactical squad lists. Because my firstborn Blood Angels list is basically 36 jump marines, 2 dreadnoughts, and a flyer, and that's the whole list.
Right.
So this was I was like, oh, well, I'll have I'll run a couple 20-man blobs of tactical dudes, and I'll give them chain blades, and I'll give them the Olympian bolters, and they're just they're fine. I didn't enjoy playing them, so I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. And kind of retooled my list a couple times, and then I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do the Armored Spearhead. I haven't had an all vehicle list since I think I had an Armored Steel Legion list back in the day. It was a command squad in a Chimera, 2 troop squads in Chimeras, 2 Lehman Russes, a Lehman Russ Demolisher, and 2 Sentinels, and that was the whole army.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do all vehicles because you can. So the list I came up with ends up being Sakaran command tank, 2 more Sakarans, 3 one-man or one vehicle Predator squadrons.
Okay.
So 3 Predators, and then I'm running a Venator, and then 2 Leviathans and a Derideo.
Okay.
So it should be fun. Like the list is pretty fluffy. It's pretty true to point. Ben and I were talking like
it sounds like the opposite of like it doesn't sound very soft. It sounds very hard edged.
sure. But I mean, the way that the rules work in Horus Heresy, like it's not. I don't know. It's not super. I don't think it's that tough because it's the new edition of Heresy, so it's basically like 7th edition or the 6th edition.
Yep.
So shooting at vehicles isn't that hard, and you can like plink them to death.
Yep.
So it's not like my list is super hard to kill. It can be like if you're running something where you're like, oh, my entire army is like 400 dudes with bolters. Yeah, you're gonna have a rough day. But like if it's anything else, and for the most part, like I'm never trying to surprise somebody with this list. Like I would let somebody know, hey, I'm running an armored spearhead list.
Yep.
And from what I've seen, mine is pretty reasonable. Like I think it ends up being 7 tanks and 3 dreads.
Right.
Whereas like a buddy of mine is running a list, it's like 15 tanks, and I was like, that seems crazy. Like there's no way you're killing 15 tanks. Like that's just not happening.
Does he have some of the little sabers to be able to squeeze all those in? The ones that are like
I think his list is Chris's list is it's again, you always have the Sakaran command. So it's a Sakaran command tank. He's got two other Sakarans. He has 3 Predator tank squadrons, so 6 Predators.
Yep.
Then he's got 2 10-man attack squads in Land Raiders.
Right, okay.
And then he's got 2 Sabers, 2 of the Vindicator with a laser destroyer.
All right, yep.
And then a Scorpius Whirlwind.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was like, that seems crazy. Like that's
that's a lot of vehicles, but
that's nuts.
It's not a lot of armor 14, but
I mean, like he'll have what the Land Raiders are 14,
yep.
the Vindicators are 14 on the front.
Yeah,
and then like the Sakarans and stuff are all 13 in the front.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not like you can't kill that list. It's just that's going to be some rough sledding to get that list done.
It will be tough. It will be tough. But that's why I brought these guys.
Yeah, those are great. The new plastic possessor is so good.
Yep. So this guy's got an arm from one of the accursed cultists.
Nice.
It's a big fist arm. But yeah. So these are my Galvor back. A couple of them I left the more Chaos Space Marine style backpacks.
Nice.
But for some of them I did a mix.
Nice.
Which kind of matches with the Galvor backpacks because they're kind of all over the place. So
yeah, that guy's awesome. His right hand is super cool, like the 2 big blade finger things.
The Pinchy. Yeah. Mr. Pinchy. He's gonna pinch you.
That's awesome.
But, yeah, so that was it was fun to put those together. That's been my my hobby break. But I should also say thank you very much, everybody, for letting me have a week off. I completely forgot. For some reason, I thought that my mum's birthday was on the Wednesday. It wasn't. It's on the Tuesday, last Tuesday. So yeah, we had sushi, lovely sushi, and what do we have? Do we have a cake? No, we had pie. Birthday pie.
Birthday
pie. But it was all
I'll
good.
allow it.
Yeah,
I'll
thank
allow
you.
it. That seems reasonable.
Thank you. But I was going to say, we said hi to Scott, hi to Jeff, hi to Jay, hi to Josh, ahoy. And Jay does point out, basic infantry day, basic infantry are boring. It was like the perfect thing. But no, this is the beautiful part about it, though, is that you and I are diametrically opposed on that.
Yeah.
I am all about building lists around the basic line trooper. So, but we can talk about that a little bit more in a few minutes. But so we've just got some news to go through. Are you ready for it?
Yeah, let's have the news.
Okay.
Here's Dave with the news.
Here's Dave with the news. It's not. It's just the news that I want to talk about, really.
Okay.
So, last week I mentioned my friend Aaron's. Well, sorry, 2 weeks ago I mentioned my friend Aaron's wood painting handles Kickstarter. Sorry, I'll show this guy too.
Oh, gross.
And this one.
Come here, Junior. I got to show you something.
Yep.
Stand right here.
So they're coming along. But the painting handles are super cool. The Kickstarter finished last week, and Aaron has the pre-order page up already. Kickstarter crushed it, so he's very excited. But there'll be a link down below in the notes for that. Then we also have... I think I mentioned last week that... 2 weeks ago. I'll keep saying that. When I was talking about the... my mind's gone blank. Talking about the Tremendous Tome of Epic Dungeons, that we were going to be working with some collaborators. So some folks in the community, some people who do some epic builds. And one of them is Neil from Real Terrain Hobbies. So if you haven't checked out his YouTube channel, go and check it out. He's a very cool guy. He is up in Canada. Might not be too far from Scott. I don't know. Canada's a big country. But,
Yeah, very big.
but I think he is in the center, slightly west part. But Neil's been doing... running a YouTube channel for a bunch of years now, and he has just launched today this box set that you can see, the Builder's Kit for Fire and Hammer, and basically it's everything you need to get started in terrain building, and also there's a project in there to build. So it's like a laser cut basis for a like a medieval smithy,
Okay.
and forge and stuff, and you can build it up, so medieval / fantasy kind of thing. But there is $320 worth of goods. If he said if you were to go and buy it on Amazon, it would be $320 US. But the kit that they're selling is $199. But launching today, and it's one of those things where I was talking with him yesterday, that basically it's perfect for like a Christmas gift. If you got a friend or a couple of friends who are kind of thinking of getting into scenery building or getting into the hobby, getting a bunch of other friends together, club together, and pick this up. But again, you can check it out in the link.
Okay.
Below. The build that we're going to be photographing for Neil to go into the Tremendous Tome of Epic Dungeons is his castle build that he's just been working on this year. It's a fantastic looking castle based on a video game that I, of course, do not remember the name of. Sorry. I always forget that kind of thing. So, yes, and of course, because I have the pick lined up, it's the Tremendous Tome of Decorating Dungeons coming up now. So, we've been talking with a guy in France, a couple of YouTubers, a couple of Instagram builders. I say Instagram builders, but builders who show their stuff on Instagram. We've got some guys who show this. What's that?
That makes more sense.
Yeah, folks that show their stuff on Facebook. We've got a mix of those things, and at the moment, Jeff and I are starting to nail down when we're going to go up to the Dwarven Forge HQ up in Brooklyn to take some photos, because Dwarven Forge are going to be putting in 2 different builds, I think, into the Epic Dungeons. And you know, if you go to the source, they're going to have so much stuff.
You'll have to let me know
the
when you guys are heading to Brooklyn.
Yeah?
You have to let me know when you're heading to Brooklyn, because that's not that bad a drive for us. So
Okay, I'll let you know.
Maybe come down, we can hang out.
Yep, that could be good.
So Josh says he really do I need another blacksmith shop in my terrain collection? The answer is it's unavoidable.
Yes.
And then Scott says Real Terrain Hobbies is legit about 30 minutes from here. That's super close in Canadian distances.
Yep. Right. Yep. I'm in Saskatchewan. I'm in Saskatoon. I thought so. I thought he was thought he was up nice and close. But yeah, we're really excited. We got a lot of great feedback from folks on the Tremendous Tome of Epic Dungeons project, and I think we're nailing down like mid to late October. I'm not nailing. I'm not nailing down anything, right? It just
you're still gonna send me stuff so I can start editing it.
For the.
Oh, that wasn't for that. That's for the other book.
For the art of. I've sent you an entire book to edit.
Where did you send it?
To your. I can't remember.
I'll check later.
To your email.
I just don't remember seeing it. But... So Scott, you're in Saskatchewan. I'm assuming you're a Rough Riders fan. And then I'm curious what hockey team he roots for, because Saskatchewan does not have a NHL team.
Okay. I was going to say maybe he doesn't like hockey, but then it was like, well, he's Canadian, so it's mandatory, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. But yes, so they're my bits of news. Josh says, all my years in Brooklyn, I never knew Dwarven Forge was just a few blocks away. Sorry. Excellent. Hobbies says, first time joining, and they talk hockey. This is the best. I will admit that it's going to be Jake doing all the hockey talk, and anybody in the chat. So if you've got some...
I am a rabid hockey fan.
Okay. You grew up in Massachusetts, yeah?
Yep. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I grew up in Australia where there is no.
Yeah, but then you lived in Canada where it's huge. Like, how did you not become a?
I have never lived in Canada.
What?
Never.
I thought you did.
No.
Oh, didn't your dad work there?
My mum and dad lived there for a while. They lived there for like 3 years in the late '60s, and then they were there again for a year in 2000. But
okay, I misunderstood. I thought that they emigrated and they were living in Australia, and then they moved with you to the States.
No.
So they moved before you to the States, and then they moved back.
Well, they before me to Canada.
Yeah.
And then they moved back, and they were in Australia before I moved to the States. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Josh, yes, I'm a huge Bruins fan. I mean, I will watch a lot of teams. There's only a handful of teams that I don't like, but yeah, the Bruins are my team in the East. They always have been, and then I'm a huge Blackhawks fan. I have been since I was a kid. But yeah, I had my brushes with greatness. I've played hockey in 4 countries, and my closest brush was in 2001. I think I got invited to pro tryouts, but it was the same year that the IHL folded, so all those guys were trickling down. But it's fun. I love it. I'm trying to get back into a new league around here where I just moved. But
excellent.
Dave's like, are you guys talking about sports ball?
No, you're talking about sports puck, right?
That's right. That's true.
It's like a 60 mil base, but thicker.
Yeah, it basically.
It's going to be 80 mil, isn't it? Oh, no, okay, it's closer to 60.
It's pretty close to 60, I would guess.
Somebody will tell us what the regulation size for a puck is. Awesome. Scott says the CFL stinks. So.
Yeah, I mean they're not great. It's fun. Like back when they had Doug Flutie, it was good. It's weird. It's like football and. Like I don't know if you watch the NFL at all, but like so the Canadian field is wider,
right?
And then it's technically 10 yards longer, and then
because it's in metric, right? It's metric.
No, it's still a 100-yard field, but like the end zones are bigger, and then the goalposts are at the front of the end zone.
Okay.
It's super weird, and they play with
So it's a little bit more like rugby.
Well, I mean, it's still football. Like, so you can still make a forward pass, which in rugby you can't. And
yeah,
it's definitely more like American football. It's very, very close.
Okay.
Apparently,
Nice.
apparently, I have a lot of echo on everybody else's end, and I'm not really sure why.
Okay.
I wonder if this thing is set to.
What's it set to? It's set
What's on the back here? Is what symbol?
Hang on a second.
See if I can.
It's set to the strange sort of pseudo Pac-Man kind of thing. So there's the linked rings, there's the single ring, there's the infinity symbol, and it's the other one.
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be the Pac-Man thing.
Yeah.
Is that any better? Am I still super echoey?
I'm going to blame it on the enormous room behind you.
It really shouldn't be that bad, though. I mean, there's a couch right here, and
Yeah. I don't know.
is that better or worse? I tried cycling it.
Jeff Smith says everything you add to the conversation is worth hearing twice.
Oh, thanks, Jeff.
Oh, Jay says it got worse.
Oh,
That's
what?
terrible. That's terrible. Okay.
Man,
Maybe
all
it got
hang
worse
on.
when I picked up my my microphone and pointed it at the screen. But we'll see.
Hang on, let me. I don't know what's going on. I thought this is set to the right thing. Let me.
But yeah, Josh,
Dave.
that's Jake's new basement.
It is the new basement. Dave, you talk for a second. I'm gonna try to troubleshoot this on my end.
Sure. Just put me on the spot. But yeah, but no, this is my opportunity now to move on from hockey and talk about line troopers. Bring the conversation back to topic.
Why would you want to move on from hockey?
I
That's
know,
I
it sounds
can't.
crazy. It does sound crazy, but right, okay. Oh, Hellfire Hobbies is saying if your streaming software has computer audio, and you also have microphone audio, it would do that. Yes, that is happening. So maybe if I dial this down a little bit, how does that sound?
You tell me, is that better or worse? I'm on Yeti's website looking at like the different changes. So
All the fun things. So I've just moved my microphone down and left the desktop audio at the same level. So it might get a little bit, but we'll see. Oh, Jay says better on my end, so that could be it.
all right,
That's probably it.
yeah,
Okay.
because I'm set to the right thing. So
Yep. And thank you, Josh, for getting us back. Line troopers, surprisingly, hold the line. They also take and hold objectives. So, you're against them. You don't like them. You don't like the basics.
again, they're fine. I don't have a problem with line troopers. I think over the years, I do not enjoy running blobs of tactical marines.
Okay. Just tactical
Like, it's
marines.
just-
Like,
Yeah, it's just not my thing. Like I'm just like I've tried using them before. Like I was always that guy. Like it was like, oh hey, so I'm gonna make a Blood Angels list. And I'm like, well, I want to run a bunch of Assault Marines.
Okay.
And they're like, well, you can't do that. And I'm like, cool. I'm gonna spend 160 points on 2 5-man scout squads, and then I'm gonna run 3 assault squads, 2 honor guard squads, and 2 veteran marine squads, so I can run as many marines as possible that have jump packs.
right.
But again, it's fine. Like I think one of the best games I ever had, I was playing against a Ultramarines player. This is probably 5th edition, and he ran like the all Ultramarines tac squads. So it was like command squad in a Razorback.
Yep.
Devastator squad. I think they were in a Razorback. Could you give them a Razorback?
Probably. Yeah.
I think you could if there were 5 guys or less.
Yep.
So he did a 5-man squad with a Razorback, and then he did 6 10-man tac squads.
Right. All in rhinos.
All in rhinos.
Nice.
The whole list.
Yep. So
It was
almost the whole
gross.
company. That's great.
Yeah, it was insane. That it was definitely fun. Like I had a good time against that list. But like he was playing them where it's like they would drive up, everybody gets out, they shoot at stuff, then they can't shoot and board, so they would wait the next turn, and then he would just like sort of Uber them around the battlefield, like grabbing objectives and like getting out. But yeah, I'd rather just run like tons of like assault troops. Like, again, I usually play my lists pretty aggressive.
That sounds like it. Yeah.
So
Nice. Yeah, I think. Oh, there we go. Excellent. Scott says, line troopers are the heart and soul rhythm section, the very bones of an army. If the line troops aren't what attracted you to the army, then what are you even doing? Get right with Jeeves, dude.
Like I want to run assault marines because that's what blood angels are supposed to be. And to be fair, for a while, jump troops were in their troop section.
Right. Yep.
So I was like, this is great.
Yeah.
All assault marines all the time. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Nice.
Just like Sanguinius wanted.
I think for me, because I come from a background of Imperial Guard, collecting Imperial Guard armies, it's like and the way that they've like set things up, you got to have like 2 or 3 troop choices, and the troop choice is platoon of guardsmen. For the longest time, it's basically like it's minimum 25 guys.
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit different now, but
yeah, they're the opposite kind of extreme. Yeah. Like it was like, hey, do you like infantry? Well, good news. Like
good news. That's all
your list is just built by it.
For sure.
I think it's easier now. Like so I have the flesh eaters that I sent you pictures of. We'll show them. Yep. So like in the new codexes for Space Marines, you can run intercessors, and then you can choose if they're assault intercessors or standard intercessors.
Okay.
And they're both troop choices. Right. So I just run a ton of assault intercessors. I just think they're awesome.
Surprise. Yep.
Yeah, and then I do have a Vanguard list that's all what is it? It's all the Phobos armor dudes.
Okay. Yep.
So like I have the troops in that I really like because I've got Reavers, and then I also have some regular intercessors, and I've got some what are the other guys? It's the dudes with like the crazy masks, and they have like the grenades and the sniper guns.
Right. There's the Illuminators.
Infiltrators, I think.
Infiltrators. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's a ton of really cool options. Well. Yeah, there's way too many names in that book. I'm always like, what are those guys called?
Right.
I'm like, because they're basically the same guys with slightly different guns. I'm like, okay, yeah, it's those guys.
I think that some of them are the Yellowcutors. They have perfect diction.
Which one? Yeah, the Yellowcutors. I believe they do have some Yellowcutors.
And then there's the Electrocutors.
Scott, that's phenomenal, by the way.
Right.
Scott has a photo of him out to dinner with Bobby Orr and Dennis Hull. That's phenomenal.
Right. Fantastic.
You have to put it in Josh. And Josh says in 5th, he ran 4 tac squads and would drop in assault troopers and terminators on the place. Yeah, that's a solid list.
Yeah. But I think that's where my love of the infantry has come from. It's the guys in t-shirts with flashlights, but you just have a lot of them, and it can, like, your opponent can get in there and like charge with their assault squads, and they'll take out 10 guys, and then they're standing there, and the other 60 are hosing them down.
Yep.
And you kill 4 of them, and then that 6th squad will jump in and kill another 10 guys, and then you stand back and you hose them down. And eventually, you'll kill a assault marine squad, but no, I think that's what it's always been. It's get the maximum number of guys that it can to an objective, and just make it really tough to sort of peel everybody away.
Yeah,
or as tough as you can. But yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've mainly played Imperial Guard, and so when it comes to playing a not so much elite, but an off tactical, I guess, Space Marine army. Yeah. I'm always confused how to do it, because there are times when I'm like, well, if I just run over there, I can do this thing, and I forget that I'm going to expose my guys to lots of fire, and each Marine that I lose is like losing a third of an Imperial Guard squad.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is different. I think one of the things I always enjoy about the Marines is that you kind of get spoiled.
Right.
Those like the row of 4s across the stat line, you kind of forget about that.
Right.
We were playing a game a couple weeks ago, and a kid was using Eldar, and I was helping him out, and I was like, well, yeah, just move these guys up here, and then he shot us. The other guy shot at us, and I was like, well, you should be fine. I'm like, it's only strength 5, and then he's like, right, but I'm Eldar, and I was like, right, and then he was like, they're only toughness 3, and I was like, oh, right, yeah, you're gonna get cut to pieces by that. Like,
I'm sorry, I've led you down the wrong path.
yeah. But yeah, it's just kind of funny. Like, I mean, so you do kind of get used to that, and if you played like Necrons back in the day, they basically had they have a similar stat line, other than their initiative's terrible. But yeah, anything that has 4s, you kind of get used to that, and if you're used to playing an army that's 4s, it kind of gets baked in. Like, I don't usually run toughness 3 armies, so. But I have a bunch of friends who are the opposite. Like they started playing either Tau or Guardsman or Eldar, so they're used to that stat 3 storyline, toughness line.
Yep.
And then for Heresy, now they're playing Marines, and they're like, "Whoa, this is so different." I'm like, "Yeah, everything you have is toughness 4." Right?
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. But I always think that based on that sort of introduction, that starting with the Imperial Guard and that kind of thing, and starting with the Empire as well in Warhammer Fantasy, that just meant that whenever I always had that thinking, I was always thinking, I'm going to build a core of the army first, and get those guys out of the way, get them done. It's going to be 50 models, 60 models, 80 models, whatever it happens to be. Which can then lead to like some ridiculously large, like very quickly to some ridiculously large or unnecessarily large collections. When you switch to something like Marines, because you're like, okay, well, I'll just paint up 40 tactical guys as my basis, and then add 20 of those dudes and 20 of those, and all of a sudden I've got like 4,500 points of word bearers. But I think with this playing historical games as well, I don't know if you've sort of done any historical wargaming. It's all humans. There aren't a lot of elite troops that have the same level of impact that they do in something like fantasy or 40k.
I mean, I think that there's a difference. I think that if you do stuff like bolt action, for example, right? So like we're all used to thinking like 40. Like, most of the guys on here that I'm looking at the names, like all these people are all either fantasy or 40k players. So we're used to thinking of things in terms of like, what slots does it use up?
Right.
Is it like a leadership slot, like an HQ or a warlord, or is it like a line troop slot, or is it like an elite's choice, or and I think that there's ways around that. In historical games, it's stuff like, oh well, I'm going to take a tank.
Right.
It's like, I'm building this list, and I took a like a Hetzer, or I took like a Stug, like something that's going to just punch a hole in something and kill it. So that's the difference. Like the other units that's where your crazy stuff comes in.
Right.
Typically.
Like your artillery or your
yeah.
vehicles.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's always like specialized units, like you're like, I'm gonna run Fallschirmjäger. You're like, oh, what is that? It's basically troops that can like deep strike, and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, so like I get that.
Yeah.
We get some other ones. So
I was gonna say in something like Napoleonics, though, what you generally find is that your elite troops hang around longer. The morale is better, is the key.
Yep.
So they might be able to take a little bit more punishment when it comes to being shot at, but they'll stay there longer, which is a different sort of approach to the fast attack elite option that you're.
And you're always going to have stuff like like running hussars.
Right.
Like a buddy of mine was playing a game, I forget what historical it is, and he has a unit of Polish Lithuanian winged hussars, and they're monsters. Like they show up, their leadership, they're effectively unbreakable. Like you can't get them to run. You have to kill them all. And then they'll hit a unit of line troops and just disintegrate it.
Right.
Because they ignore stuff like, oh, we're going to stand and shoot. They're like, cool, we lost 3 guys. We annihilate your unit.
Right.
So I definitely think that you're always going to run into stuff where, where does that strength of numbers come in versus like, so the elites units typically they're either smaller and way more expensive, or your troops choices are just they're so inexpensive. You're just I'm gonna bury you in cheap troops. You know, it's the whole like Russian army in World War II. It's like, you know, quantity is a quality all of its own sort of thing. So yeah, and Josh is right. Like Josh is talking about, bolt action lives and dies on troops. It absolutely does. That's the way that game is designed. And there's other examples, like if you played like Team Yankee, or if you play what's the World War II one? Flames of War. Because it's more vehicle based.
Yeah, the scaling of it is vehicle based for sure.
Yeah, but you can still run tons of infantry. Like a friend of mine runs the in Team Yankee, he runs the it's the Russian. It's basically like Russian paratroopers.
Okay.
With like Hinds.
Yep.
And that's his whole army. It's like 8 little platoons of specialist troops that have like rocket launchers and stuff like that, and you can deploy them anywhere. And then he runs Hind gunships.
Yep.
And it's a super fun list. And depending on like what mission you're playing, like he can absolutely dominate, because it's like he can like zip around and grab stuff.
Yep.
But if you're playing a standard one, it doesn't typically go his way, because you get kind of like overwhelmed.
Right.
James is talking about how 9th edition codexes handing out objectives secured like candy went back to line troops being attacked for the cool stuff. Again, yeah, to a certain extent.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
Yeah, that's fair.
It'll be an interesting thing to see how they sort of walk that back for the next time, if they do.
I mean, I hope that they do. I think having to have troops is fine.
Yep.
But I also think that every army should be different, right? I think that every army should have that freedom where it's like, well, I have to do these guys, that's fine, but you should never have to take guys because you have to take them. Like, I don't like that. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
I think and there's always armies that have like weird, like Deathwing, right? So it's like, I'm gonna run Deathwing. Cool, I can just take all Terminators. And you're like, well, what about the troops? It's like, no, they count as troops.
Right.
I was like, that's kind of cool. Like, the upside is you can take tons of Terminators. The downside is like, your army is essentially just Terminators. Like, you don't have a lot of flexibility. So I always enjoy that stuff, but
right. The going through the off core, I guess.
Yeah.
Stepping away from the tactical squad approach. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I think it gives you. I mean, there's so many armies and so many factions. You know, whether you're talking about Age of Sigmar or 40K, or like, there's just so many different varieties. And even in Heresy, even though it's essentially new, there's so many options in the back. Like, you take one of the different formations, you do the one that's all dreadnoughts, or you do the one that's oops, all tanks. Like, there's so many different variations of what you can and can't take. I think that kind of stuff engenders a lot of like sort of creative thinking, and it gives you a lot of more variety than like, okay, Dave's bringing his Space Marine army, so he's gonna have a captain and 2 tactical squads, and then 3 or 4 other things, and I'm gonna have a captain and 2 tactical squads, and then, it's like, that would be super boring if every time you showed up and everybody was just playing basically 40% the same army every time. So
sure. No, that's fine. I understand that. I was just giving you a bit of crap for it.
That's fine.
No, I think it's good. It is important to have that ability to flex for sure, so you get that variety, and you're not always playing the same, which gets a bit dull.
Yeah.
But yes. Just quickly, Scott said, you dudes got any info on the new Vallejo Game Color stuff and their entry into the speed paint realm? I think that's what they called it. Have they called it instant? It's not instant. It's something else. Juan Hidalgo, I think that's the dude, posted some cool pics. Yeah, I really can't remember the name of it. I did hear something about it, but no.
Vallejo one?
Pardon?
Oh god. I can't remember the name of it. I know it too.
It's not. It's one of those things. But yeah, no. I think the answer is no. We don't have any information beyond what you've heard or seen. But yeah, I did see some miniatures painted exclusively with those new instant paints that looked pretty cool. So, but as I say, it's another sort of entry into that speed paint. So the speed paints or contrast paints kind of realm. It will be interesting to see what the how they sort of stack up against those, and how they deliver their pigment, if it's any different. I'm guessing it's going to be fairly similar.
They're all really good. Like you've already had for years. You've had Scale 75 has had their inks for a while, and they're very similar. They're not the same, but they're a little different. And I think that kind of got the ball rolling. And then GW put out their contrast paints, and then you had Army Painter put out their speed paints, and then Scale 75 has their potion. I think they're called.
You mentioned that, but
which
the Scale 75 stuff.
Yeah, but their new stuff,
okay.
the stuff that
the
they
stuff.
actually put out as speed paints. Like their ink intensities were similar.
Right, okay.
It was a stepped up ink from back in the day, basically, that did put a little bit of color on the model.
Yep.
But then they put out their potions, which are essentially instant colors. Like that's their speed paint, contrast paint kind of thing. And then I know you've got the new stuff that's coming out now from Vallejo, which is unsurprising. And then somebody was asking me about the Duncan Rhodes paint line.
Okay.
So there's been all this. So Dan Wood, who you know, is a buddy of ours, friend of the show. Dan was asking about the Kickstarter and like what happened.
Yep.
So I don't have all of the info, but drawing on some of the folks that I've like talked to and kind of dug a little deeper, it looks like what happened was, so Duncan signed the deal with Asmodee, and Asmodee and this other company are essentially making the paints, and then Asmodee is handling like the distribution and fulfillment, all that kind of stuff. So they sent him a bunch of different, I guess, like prototypes to figure out which ones he liked. And Duncan had all these very specific requests, like I wanted to have this kind of viscosity and this much, pigment in it, and like this kind of like finish. And they sent him a couple of samples, and he was like, I want this one, whatever it is. So that one then went out, and then they sent in the first batch, and they had not sent him what he asked for. They sent the wrong thing.
Okay.
So Duncan was like, effectively like, I'm not selling this. This is not what I asked for. So they're waiting for the second batch to come in. And I know that might not be the complete reason, but I know that that's part of the reason that
things have been
the
delayed.
Kickstarter has been delayed. So
okay, interesting. Okay, no worries. Well, I think we're going to move on just quickly to the next thing, and I don't have. I've saved our line infantry for the end.
sure.
Yours and mine, but we're going to start with Ben's.
Okay.
So we have Ben Fail, who is Jake's business partner in Alpha Omega Hobby.
Man, those are great.
Here are his Space Wolves for Horus Heresy. They do look cool. They look very cool.
Yeah, he did a little bit of kit bashing, mostly like head swaps. He took actual wolf heads, and I think he got like some other swords and stuff from somewhere else.
Right.
Yep. But they look great.
They do look cool. I think
like the Harris
and that red looks great with the gray.
Yeah.
I think at some point I need to do a gray Heresy army, but I don't know which one to do. What I do?
Technically, you could do your army in gray because.
Well, I could do Word Bearers. I could do Dusk Raiders.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Dusk Raiders would be dope.
I could do Space Wolves, who sort of that lasted throughout the Heresy. But yeah, no, I think Ben's done an excellent job there. So, thank you very much, Ben, for. Well, I was gonna say thank you very much, Jake, for taking a photo of these and sending it to me.
No worries. His army looks great. His vehicles and stuff, and his like Leviathan. He painted like black plates in certain spots, and then he did like bronze or brass like scroll work, kind of Celtic Nodish looking stuff on them.
Yeah.
And they look great. But these guys are just like line troops, so he didn't like he didn't do anything nuts. They all have different shoulder pads.
Right.
And then he's got like his other squad of these guys. The wolf troops, by the way, are nuts. Like, so they can basically mix out and take like extra power weapons and extra like special weapons like plasma guns and stuff.
Yep.
Which is kind of nuts.
When I first looked at this, it was like, hang on, is this like a veteran squad? And I was like, I bet you it's a Space Wolf thing. It's a nutty Space Wolf thing.
Yeah, so default they all come with swords, pistols, and bolters.
Right.
And then they can swap out one of the things for something else.
Something more
so his other squad, he swapped out the. I'm assuming it must be the bolter for plasma guns. So that squad has 3 plasma guns, and then the sergeant has a plasma pistol, and you can give 2 guys plasma pistols.
Right.
So that squad basically has 6 plasma shots.
Right.
And then in this one, he's got, and there's a bigger squad. I think he has 2 squads. So he's got. I think he's at three power swords in the squad, plus the sergeant has the lightning claw, and then he's got I think he has a power fist in the squad too.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. But no, that's crazy. But they look great. Awesome job, Ben. Thank you very much. Next up, from Bingley, we have some Scorser skirmishes from the Goritzi faction from Wrath of Kings.
The werewolf people. Those models are great.
Yeah, so keeping that wolf theme going. Yeah, they are super cool. I mean, these are obviously they're based on the Rackham confrontation wolves. Yep. It's that very similar styling. But no, these look cool. Bing's done an excellent job painting these.
We still have some of that stuff at the shop. We carry that whole range. I love those models. There's so much good stuff in that range.
Yep, definitely. You should jump on the Wrath of Kings sales group.
Oh yeah, I probably should.
What you've got, that'd be the way to go. But yeah, they look fantastic. Bing, I love the that you tied them together with that blue.
Yeah, the blue and the brown.
Yeah. Looks definitely cool. Now, these guys are not necessarily line troops, in my opinion. They're certainly in the troop sphere, but not necessarily basic troopers. But this is from Chris Scorser, so we had to show them anyway, because they're beautiful. So they're it's some of the skewer boys from the... what are they called?
They're man skewers.
The man skewers.
Bolt boys. That's your bolt boys.
Bolt boys. Bolt boy man skewers.
I think so.
Yep. But they look fantastic. Chris has done an excellent job on them. I do like the idea though of just having like sneaky orcs with really huge crossbows, like ridiculously huge crossbows that could skewer a man.
They're pretty good.
Yeah. They look nice. But, again, it's got the classic Chris Scorser paint style. I like it.
Whenever I see these guys, the idea of these guys shooting crossbow bolts at Stormcast just seems like a massively terrible idea.
All right. Because they'll just bounce off their armor, or...
You're like, basically all you did was you just pissed them off. Like, they're going to come murder the U3.
Well, they were going to do that anyway.
That's true.
So I think you may as well just, like, throw the...
Might as well get a couple of shots in.
I mean, some of those spears are like 6, 7, 8 feet long. Some of them are going to go through. They're going to find a kink somewhere.
Maybe
a chink in the armor. But I think that'll happen. But anyway, moving on. Next up, we have some of my favorite line troops. Plague Marines. Plague Marines from Cliff Edders.
Okay.
So
nice.
these are for 40k. So Death Guard for 40k rather than 30k. When I saw them, it was like, oh yeah, there is that other game. I've just been focused on Heresy so much.
So Cliff told me about this a little bit. So if I remember correctly, so he bought this Rhino and the kit was damaged.
Okay.
So it's missing the headlights.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the headlights, and then it was missing one of the doors on the front, like the 2 slats.
Yep.
So he used the Rhino like chaos bit to cover one, and then see how the sort of dozer blade is missing the far arrow.
Yep.
It should have 5 arrowheads. It only has 4.
Yep.
So he built this and was like, I'm just gonna paint a Death Guard. I was like, it's perfect. Like it fits perfect. Like anytime you have a damaged vehicle, you're like, cool, it's a Death Guard vehicle.
No goal.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
But no, they look great. It's super old school.
Yep, they do look really cool.
And the Death Guard stripe, the white stripe for the old Death Guard paint scheme.
Yeah. Yep.
I do like it.
I think, Cliff's done a great job there. The only thing I need to ding Cliff on is that he's used some paper towel as the backdrop.
I just noticed that. I was like, why is there like texture? I was like, oh, it's Bounty the Quicker Pepper Upper. So in case he spills any paint while he's taking photos. Yeah, there we go.
All good.
Nice.
But not for photo backdrops. Anyway, Cliff. Next up, we have another image from Cliff, and these guys are who I think of for Cruel Boys line troops. So your sort of bog standard spearmen with fantastic bright yellow shields.
Yep.
They look very cool.
Yeah, their shields are the best. Like the lore behind that is like they use the shields and they paint them bright colors, so at night when they're sneaking through the swamp, it looks like a bunch of floating heads.
Right.
Like
Yep.
like scary monster heads, and I was like, that's phenomenal.
That is super cool. Yep. And I love the guy. Obviously the leader with the split shield.
Yep.
Yellow and red. Looks great. But obviously Cliff's got a little bit more work to do on the basing. Get it done, Cliff. Get it done.
Obviously, you can't do Goblin Green because then their feet would blend in.
It's true. Well, you want to do you're going to want a swamp base, right?
Old school.
Always going to want a swamp base.
Everything's just Goblin Green. Just Goblin Green bases on everything.
Yep. Definitely.
I do not miss that. I do not miss having to paint Goblin Green bases on everything.
Nor do I. It was one of I just quickly talking about sort of old school indoctrination of Games Workshop staff members. It was in the Codex. There was the book that told us what to do in the store and how things had to be presented and all that sort of thing. And I started working with that in like 94. Yeah, like mid 94. And then in 95, when I had my own store, was running my own Games Workshop store in Sydney, and Necromunda was released. And in the book, everyone's running around on the industrial terrain with their Goblin Green bases, because that's how it was done. Everything was painted Goblin Green. One of my new staff members was like, "This is stupid. Why are we doing that? We should have them. They should be like gray or like blue gray or cool bases that aren't grass." And I'm like, "Wow, this is the way it is in the book. You gotta do it the way it is in the book." And then when he got his own store, he painted them up with grey bases, and the area manager saw it and went, "That's fantastic. They look great. Everybody else, paint your bases grey."
Do you remember this?
Oh. No, we didn't have that in Australia.
So I have that, and then on the back it's the 10 Commandments.
Yeah. It's frightening. They're all
So
good.
funny.
I still use them sometimes.
Hell yeah.
But next up, we have some Tactical Marines from the... I can never remember. It's not Shadowhawks. I think it might be Shadowhawks. But Dave Hummel's Space Marine chapter. These guys look very cool. That wonderful red, black, and gold scheme.
Those are all Mark IV Heresy Marines. The old ones.
Right. Well, you said the old ones, the plastic ones. Yeah. Do you? I still can't think of them as old.
Some of those might be resin.
They might be. They probably are, actually. Yeah. Knowing Dave. But he has... Dave's been working on this project for a long time, and he still has a lot more to go, but he's working on building a chapter of these guys. But I think they look great. And, of course, with that white script on there.
Yeah.
Black shoulder pads, white script, red armor. Very reminiscent of some other word bearers I know.
That top left, that looks like he has oh, what is it? That's one of the old foundation paints.
It is. Yep. I can't remember what it was called. But yeah. You would have had to collect a huge amount of those.
Yeah.
To be able to paint the entire chapter. But no, they're looking great, Dave. Thanks very much for sending that in.
Yeah, those guys are cool.
Next up, we've got some Intercessors, helped out by a big friend, the Redemptor Dreadnought. But these are from Drew Carrington, and these are for his Crimson Fist army. Again, this is an army that Drew's been working on for ages, for years and years. And
is the librarian throwing up a force shield?
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I think so, yeah, it does.
I like his Crimson Fist objective markers, too. Those are great.
Yep. Look at you, focusing on everything except for the Intercessors there.
They're good. They're great. If I was gonna paint a line unit like heavy list, I would probably do Crimson Fists, just because I love the old artwork that was on the original Rogue Trader book with all the Crimson Fists like surrounded by orcs and stuff. Yeah, it's just such a great piece, and like it's such a phenomenal paint scheme too. Like the dark navy. You do like a little bit of like light blue trim, and then you can kind of use the red as a spot color, and it's just such a dynamic looking paint scheme. But
yeah, no, they are great. They Crimson Fists were the first army I did with the 1997 third edition 40K release. So yeah, they're definitely great. But
his models are great too. He did a lot of like weathering on like the bottom half of like their knee plates and stuff and their feet.
Yep.
And then he's got a lot of detail I see on the lieutenant's like wrist. He's the guy that has the flip open Vambrisk kind of thing. Like,
right.
I will say the Intercessors. I think I enjoy them more because there's just more real estate to play with on them.
Okay. Yep.
Like the firstborn guys are so tiny. Like you really have to. You really got to either be super super careful, or like it's almost so small you can't notice it. And the Intercessor guys, just being that little, 15% bigger,
yep,
all that plate stuff, you can it's so much easier to do, I think. But.
Sure. Yeah. Yep. No, I'd agree. That bigger surface area is much better to work with. But next up, we have a whole bunch of zombies from AT-43. These are from
sweet.
These are from Greg Boosbelow.
Nice.
Yep. So he sent these in, which is cool.
As soon as you said AT-43, I was like, it's probably Greg.
Probably Greg. Yep, it's Greg. And I finally got rid of that image from behind them. But there we go. When I say I finally, I've done it in the thing now. I'm transitioning it over. All good. But yeah. What's that?
Do they not have hands?
Oh, they have. I don't know. Now that you mention it, I just assumed they had like metal fists.
Okay.
So that maybe they've just been encased so that they can't grab people, so they can't grab their own troops. But
right.
You just want to send them forward as cannon fodder.
They're great.
But yeah, huge units of zombies are always fun. Big fan of those. But they're very cool. Nice one, Greg. Ooh, very cool. Next up, we have we have tactical squad. I think it's a 20-man tactical squad, and there's some tactical support behind there. But my friend James Craig, his 14-year-old son Jack, got his first painting commission this summer. And he's painting up a Horus Heresy Iron Hands army.
Is that what this is?
Yep. So this is the start of it. So what are we looking at? Roughly 25, 26 models there.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22. So it looks like 20. It's like 20. It's 20 Marines in the front, and then there's his captain or his praetor, and then there's a standard bearer. So there's 22. And then he's got another 10 in the back, and then he's got a Terminator.
Right. Close. I was close. Yeah. Let's say 31. So Yeah, but these are looking fantastic. Jack's doing an excellent job here on these tacticals. The next image that we've got is him as well, and he's used a bunch of 3D printed parts on there. A lot of 3D printed shoulder pads for the Iron Hand symbol, and there's a part where the Vexilla, instead of having it on the backpack,
it's the banner
to the banner. So that looks great, and yeah, I think he's done an excellent job. I think I was probably 19 before I took my first commission, mainly because I didn't find out about miniatures until I was 18. But yeah, Jack's got a great head start there on future in commission painting. Scott says, I was a GW art rally with James Craig, but never met him. Great painter. It's cool that his boy is keeping up the tradition. It definitely is. Yeah, James is also in Canada, but nowhere near where Scott is. He's over in almost eastern Ontario. He's east of Toronto anyway. But yeah, James is a high school art teacher. So definitely the right guy to be teaching his son how to paint.
Dude, I love those Mark 6 Marines.
Yeah.
They have a soft spot in my heart. Like I love Mark 6 Marines.
Yeah. No, he's done an excellent job with those. Speaking of loving Mark 6 Marines, this is the next one's from Christian Simonson, who does some awesome grimdark sort of stuff. We've had some, I think we've shown some photos of his stuff before on the show.
Yeah.
Certainly in the group. And
His Sons of Horus list is just awesome looking.
Yeah. Yep. They look absolutely fantastic. And this one here, I love that. Well, the look on that guy's face is just so like super intense. It's almost at the like Al Pacino Scarface kind of level. But I love that he's got that skull sitting there.
On his chest, yeah.
Chest I think
It's I think the big thing with these Marines is like it's a solid paint job. Like he's got a lot of like the weathering and making them dirty and stuff. But he does such a good job with like it's a very restrained hand for like the splashes and stuff.
Right.
Because he's like this guy's a little bit of a splash on his right fist, his right shoulder pad, and his right knee. And then that's basically it. And then it's obviously from the bayonet because the chain bayonet is covered. But he's not like a World Eater, you know what I mean? Or a Blood Angel. He's not covered in gore. And then the guys in the background, same thing. Like on every every third Marine, there's like a little splash of spot color somewhere on them.
Yep.
But they don't all look the same. It's done. It's very deftly done. It's very subtle. They look fantastic.
Yep. Yeah,
And like the eye, like he painted the tones on the eye on the back banner.
Yeah.
They look great.
They are spectacular. I love those. Just that pop, that orange and yellow against that seafoam green. Awesome.
That sea green is like one of my favorite colors. Like,
it's definitely awesome. Speaking of World Eaters and blood splatter, next up we've got some minis from Pete Hairston.
Oh, I'm sure these will be gory.
Yep, they are. They're super gory. He has the chain bayonet and the blood all over those, and then
there's a weird seam down the middle.
Pardon?
There's a weird seam down the middle.
Oh, sorry. He sent me 2 photos, and I just put them together rather than having 2 tall photos. World Eater's going with the red shoulder pads.
Yep.
So the first change, I guess, towards the...
Yeah, they end up getting rid of all the blue, and then the white ends up getting covered in gore.
Oh, yep.
They end up being red with brass.
Yep.
But no, these guys are great. They're super gory, and like there's no doubt what they're doing. As soon as you see them, you're like, whoa, those guys are...
They're murdering dudes.
Yeah, they've been murdering some shit.
Yep.
They are awesome.
But speaking of Red Marines, we have some Blood Angels from Phil Karpovich.
Nice.
So
Yeah,
these
those are good.
look very nice. He's gone with the metallic sort of underlayer with the that translucent red over the top to give it that sort of candy feel.
When I first saw these, I thought that they were Thousand Suns.
Right. Okay.
Until I was like, oh, he has a Blood Angel symbol on him. Yeah, they look great. The candy coat with the silver under it. I mean, it's an awesome paint scheme.
Yep.
And that's the Power Fist from the Sanguinary Guard kit. So it's got the big blood drop across the back of the hand.
Right. Yep. Yeah, the wing blood drop there, and the like he's got the bolter on the fist.
Yeah, the wrist mounted bolter. Yeah, the Angelus pattern bolt gun, and then he's got the vampire armor with like the striations on it.
Oh yeah. Yep. But that sergeant looks very cool, leading the rest of his regular line troopers.
Yeah.
But no, awesome job, Phil.
Yeah, they look great.
Hopefully he's still in the chat. But excellent. Next up. So next up we've got two photos from Scott. And Scott mentioned before, he's more a fantasy guy than a 40k player. But there's a fantastic looking unit of Plague Bearers from fantasy back in the day. You can tell the square bases. But they are definitely beautiful. I think, and the paint job is fantastic. They're not the GW plastic. Ooh, is something going on? Why is that not transitioning over?
Scott said before, I think he ordered these from, I forget where. He found some website that does like basically like updated versions of the old Plague Bearers.
Right. Yep, there we go.
I mean, they look great.
Yeah, these are. I'm looking at these. I'm wondering if these were sculpted by Paul Muller, who had a brief stint at GW. And
maybe because they do look very similar to the old Plague Bearers.
I was going to say they look similar to the old
Heresy.
Heresy, yeah.
It's Heresy miniatures there by Andy Foster.
Okay, yeah. Did Andy Foster sculpt these ones, Scott? I was just wondering because they're very similar to the Paul Muller ghouls.
Yeah,
the thin ghouls, the ball with and lots of gnawing on bones. It had that kind of feel, and there's a little bit of a Constantine, the movie version, vibe to the to some of the models with that removed head. Like the top half of the head is gone.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, okay, definitely Andy Foster then. But yeah, they look super cool. And now the second photo is a close up.
Scott is really good at painting green, which I appreciate.
Yeah. Yep.
Like the tones on the standard.
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's awesome.
Yep. The standard is beautiful. Just the range of tones and shades on that it looks great, but also the sort of the ochres, the greens and ochre kind of colors through there that just look so cool. Ooh, sorry, I'm just gonna check. I need to check something on the stream here.
I think the cool thing about the old Plague Bearers, and I think I'm assuming that's why Scott likes these ones. They have that weird sort of like gaunt but bloated kind of look to them, like they're all like falling apart and like distended looking and gross, and they're a little bit kind of goofy, but at the same time, like it has that like Carnival of Chaos kind of vibe of like you're like ha ha ha, that's gross. Which I think is unique because like the newer. I don't think the new Plague Bearers are bad, but like the original ones were super goofy. Then the skinny ones that they did in the I want to say like early 2000s were good, and then they kind of like updated them, and these look more like those ones. Like I think these are really really cool looking models.
Yep, they are neat and beautifully painted. Scott did a great
job.
Yeah,
great work.
Excellent. Moving on. Next up, we have a squad of Tau Fire Warriors from Sean Fulton that are absolutely beautiful. So he's gone with a kind of a bright forest green for all of the armor. and then a more muted sort of khaki green for the undersuits, and the all of the pulse rifles. They've got that like a dark black casing, but with blue. Sort of any of the lines on the casing have like a glowing blue coming from.
Yeah, they look cool.
Yeah, definitely really nice work there. So Sean's the guy from he's working with the Nova Open Charitable Foundation. So I'm glad that he sent these. Also an opportunity to plug the Nova Open Charitable Foundation Summer Raffles, which are on at the moment. There's a link down below. It's a whole heap of different things you can buy tickets for, including an awesome Warlord Titan from Dan Osborne that we had on a few weeks ago, and an entire Dungeon Ball set painted by me, and loads of other cool stuff too. Units, individual models. What's that?
I said painted by this guy.
Oh no, I just painted the Dungeon Ball stuff. There's loads of other cool models painted by other cool people. But yeah, definitely good. But Sean, so Sean said, I'm just going to send these in because this is the only squad I've managed to finish.
Well, they look great.
Yeah, Sean usually focuses on individual models, busts and that kind of thing. But yeah, this is a fantastic looking Squad O Tau. And yeah, Scott said the old metal plague bearers were awesome. I sold that army off though for big bucks, which I spent on cheap women and expensive booze. I dislike the new plastic plague bearers, but it's great that you got that choice there. And Josh said hand sculpts have a little more character in my opinion. Scott says I agree. I also agree. There's getting there with digital sculpts, but
do you know the last model that GW did the traditional way is it's the Tech Priest that was released as part of the 7th edition Codex update. That's the last traditional model that they did. After that, it's all digital.
Right. Yep. I can believe that. But yeah. Josh says, been busy. I'll post up some troops that I did recently to the group when I get home this week. Fantastic. That'll be great to see, Josh. But yeah, next up we're going to run straight into one of my recent painting endeavors. When I say recent, actually, I painted these last year.
Yeah, so you didn't do these recently.
Probably in, when did I do it? Probably October last year. So these are one of my troop choices for my Tanith, Khorne's Ghost Army. So it's basically squad of 10 Imperial Guardsmen with a vehicle behind that can be a Chimera, standing as a Chimera. But
you got some interesting conversions. Like the second guy from the left is the guy. It's a hero from the Last Chancer's box.
Actually, all of these are plastic.
Really, the guy with the bandaged arm that's not hero from the Last Chancer's box?
No. That plastic, that bandaged arm, and like the strap that goes around the neck actually comes in the Cadian Command Squad box set. Yeah, it's on that sprue. But yeah, so they're all just kit bashed. The cloaks are sculpted. Basically, I'd sculpt the cloak out of green stuff. I say sculpt. I'd push it onto a piece of just pick up a piece of plastic here, like this, so like a little Ziploc bag. I just wet down one side, push the green stuff down, and sort of roll it out so it was nice and thin and flat, and then fold the plastic bag so you get the folds for the cloak.
Nice.
And let it dry overnight. Come back and then cut the shape of the cloak out, attach it to the back, and then do the little collar and hood for the cloaks. But yep, I also use these guys. Well, for my Tanith army that I'm running at the moment, I use the Gene Stealer cult list.
Yep.
So these are neophyte hybrids. And so I'd run them as a squad of 10 if I want to put them in a truck. But usually, what I've been doing recently is running them as 2. I've got like 40 of them painted. Because you do. I do, at least.
As one does.
Yeah. So I've been running them as 2 20-man squads of neophyte hybrids, which is pretty cool. And then for the in the Genestealer cult list, one of the things you can have is a cult icon. And of course, I didn't want to have a big banner for a to be running around in a Tanith unit.
So you have a Piper?
Well, I have Bryn Milo in one of them. And the cult icon that I use in the other unit is my conversion for Elijah Koo.
Oh, nice.
So the most loved and the least loved.
You could also do, what's his name? The guy who ends up being a psyker?
Oh, yeah, eventually I'll turn him into a psyker. I've done one for the commission that I've been working on for a long time, for like the last 10 years. I did one for that. Aegon Sorek.
Yeah.
Who I was thinking of. But, yeah. No, I love being able to mess around and do a lot of... Make each of your squads sort of a little bit more unique. Been a big fan of
I gotta read the 2 newest ones. I haven't read the 2 most recent Gaunt's Ghost books. I've read everything except for those last 2.
Okay, radio. Yep.
Once they switch to it's the red spined ones. It's the because one is like the something part 1, and I was like, wait, what? So,
okay. Well, the latest one would be the Vincular Insurgency.
Yeah. So I own that, but I haven't read that because I didn't read the 2 before it.
Okay, radio. Yeah, there's the War Master and there's the Anarch and the War Master. I think there's one other. I can't remember. But they're part of the Victory arc, the final.
Yeah.
Arc
I've read up to Blood Pact.
Okay.
Which I think is the first book of the last 4.
Yeah.
But I haven't read the last 3.
Okay. Radio. You got some reading to do, son. Reading.
It's such a good series.
Yeah.
I told you about the interview he did where somebody compared it to what's his name? Bernard Cromwell's Sharps books.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, oh yeah, absolutely, those are some of my favorite books. Yeah, do not deny. He was like, absolutely, I love those. Sure. It's supposed to be Sharps rifles in space. Is basically what it is. And I was like, nailed it.
Yep. It's what's the word I'm looking for? It's an ensemble cast.
Oh, 100%. It changes regularly.
Yep. But yeah, jumping in, the final image we've got for this evening.
Nice.
Thanks,
buddy. Yeah, those look familiar.
Some assault intercessors. And
I gotta gore them up a little bit. They're a little too clean, but I wanted to wait and get all of it done at once, and then I usually get a toothbrush and I'll splatter them with blood for the blood god.
Right. Yep.
But they were super fun to do. It's weird. It never shows up right. Like that red is like 4 reds, and it doesn't really show up. I took it with my phone, so
yeah. It's gonna flatten a lot of that out for sure.
Yeah. But like you had been the one who originally I was just gonna leave the chest eagles red,
right?
And you were like, you can't do that.
It would just look unpainted.
Yeah. So that's the bluish. Oh God, what are they? Oh God, help me out! It's the Psyker dudes. No, it's the Psyker Knights.
The Grey Knights.
Grey Knights, yeah. That's the Grey Knights steel or whatever.
Sorry, I had no idea where you were going with that. I thought you were going to come up with a paint color.
It's the Grey Knights steel, okay. I think, or that's what the chest eagle is. So it has like a bluish chrome look to it, which I digged.
Okay.
But no, they were super fun, and I did tons of hand painting on them. So like on the backpacks, like I sent you another photo on each of the backpacks. I painted a different symbol, so they all have tons of like kind of unique little bits. And then on their right hip plate, they all have a different like symbol. Like one guy has like kill markers, one guy has like the sergeant has the sergeant bars, another guy has like a skull, another guy has like I wrote it to looks like script. Like that's my favorite part is when I'm done, I get to go back and do all the like customization stuff. So
right, excellent. No, they do look cool. They look really good. I do love that the red stripe. The white stripe down the middle.
Yeah, I was gonna have it go all the way down the face, but I didn't want to do that. I like that it's just like the head part of the helmet.
Yeah. No, it looks good. I think it would have looked a little bit odd had it gone down further, but no, it looks cool. Excellent. Keith Edmead has joined us. Sup?
What's up, Keith?
Excellent. Just saying, interesting conversions from Dave Taylor. The heck you say? Nice. Scott says, it would be cool if somebody did a Blood Pact army all converted up. It would be, Scott. It would be really cool. And Phil says, or maybe a Custodes army based on old school Horus Heresy CCG artwork. That would also be cool. I would love to see those. He says, now we're talking. Okay, those are our ideas now. Copyright. I'm glad you guys can put a pin in when your idea was actually had. Very cool. But my favorite comment there is Josh said, I heard the latest 2 books in Gaunts are entitled Abnett Kills Characters You Love and Abnett Kills More Characters You Love.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. That's what those are called.
It's only a couple. He's getting a bit sort of soft in his old age, as is old Dan.
Yeah, a couple guys will last.
Yeah, he's gonna get angry with me for calling him old, for sure. But no, I think they're great books, and I love the idea of the Vincular Insurgency, where he was able to go back to early days of the after the founding, when they'd only been together for like 6 months, and everybody was still learning a lot about each other and that kind of thing. But because there's some great additional background on the all of the tattoos that the Tanith have.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was definitely cool to see that.
They're super fun. And Dan is such a talented author too. Like he's so good at doing character development, which is why people get upset. Because like you identify with the characters and you like them so much because he makes them so real, and then when they die, you're like really upset.
Oh yeah, yep.
But it also it creates opportunities for him too. Like a perfect example is Ron. So LM Ron is a scumbag. Like when the series starts, you hate him. He is a villain and he's kind of crooked and he doesn't really want to listen to anybody and he's always going to kill Gaunt and whatever. And then when Korbeck dies and Ron gets promoted,
Spoilers,
by this
dude.
point,
Spoilers.
look, anybody who hasn't read at least the first 5 books, I mean, they're what, 15 years ago. Like, so then Ron kind of steps in the forefront, and then he does a great job of like developing Ron as a character, and it's Ron like he still grudgingly hates Gaunt because he has to.
Yep.
But he also really respects him, and he like, but he does such a good job at like developing up characters like that, and just changing them throughout the books, and he's probably my favorite author to read from GW. Like I have never put down a Dan Abnett book and been like, that was okay. I'm always like, that was awesome, that was great, that was awesome.
Yep.
Like that's all he does is like crush stuff.
Yep.
His comics are all good. I have so much stuff from Dan.
One of the things I need to say is that when it's your accent when you're saying it, I thought you were saying Ron. I love Ron.
It was Ron, Rawne.
Yeah, I was hearing it as RON.
Oh, sorry.
Like, does he mean like? Is it like apostrophe Ron, like Angron, or is it like another character that I completely missed? Someone in the background.
Like it's Ron like Braun without the B.
Sure, yeah. No, I get it. I got it. I understood that from the context, but whenever you said it, it was just I just heard Ron.
How do you say it?
Huh? Ron.
How do you
like prawn? Ron. Oh.
It's like lawn.
Lawn, yeah.
Okay, got it. All right.
Not like lawn.
Got it.
Yeah.
No, he's fun. And then who's the other guy I really? Oh, well, we're talking about authors. So Ben has been reading the new what's the newest in the not Horus Heresy, the gold books.
Oh,
the
like
Siege of Terra books.
Echoes of Eternity.
Yeah, so Ben's been reading that one, and this awesome. And I have a soft spot for them, obviously, but so there's this great scene where Amit who's the assault captain for the Blood Angels.
Okay.
And he has the nickname. He's the Flesh Terror.
Okay.
So there's this great bit where he's like he like gets into a duel with some guy, and it's like some Marine who was friends with him, and literally in the book, it's like he tells him to eat shit, and I was like, that's amazing. Like it's fantastic. Like you got to read. I don't want to wreck it for anybody, but that scene is fantastic. Ahmed is like one of my favorite characters.
Okay.
So as a Blood Angel player, like the Flesh Eaters, back in the Rogue Trader book, they hadn't really explained the whole like Legions thing, and there were no Primarchs. They were just like, oh, they're Space Marines. And you're like, what are the Space Marines? They're like, they're like Navy SEALs in better armor. And you're like, oh, cool, they're just dudes. And in that book, if you look through it, they've turned almost all of them into successor chapters.
Right. Yep.
Because there's 12. There's Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Dark Angels.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's really it. The rest are all like Silver Skulls are in there.
Yep.
The Flesh Eaters, the Flesh Terrors, Rainbow Warriors,
Blood Drinkers.
Yeah, Blood Drinkers. Like, and then they're like, oh,
Space Sharks.
those are all successors, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, so I've done a ton of like short story writing and stuff, and I made a whole background for the Flesh Eaters, where they're a third founding.
Right.
Because the Flesh Terrors are a second founding right after Gilliman's like, okay, so there's no more legions. This is what we're gonna do.
Yep.
Yeah, Ahmed's awesome. He's such a cool character. But that's Aaron Dembski-Bowden. Aaron Dembski is another one. He's such a good writer, and I don't think he gets enough credit. Like, I do not normally read the Chaos books. I just don't.
Right.
And his trilogy on the Night Lords is one of the best books I've ever read. It is absolutely fantastic. And if you haven't read it, you definitely should. And then what's the other one he has that's fantastic? It's
He did First Heretic.
Yeah, First Heretic's really good. I'm sure you love that one, considering that you're playing Word Bearers.
Yep. I'm listening through it the second time.
Nice. Yep. He's another one though. Aaron Dembski kills it. Like I have was it Spears of the Emperor? That's the blue, like they have the blue trident as their symbol.
Okay.
But that's a great book too.
Yep. Sorry, Scott just said, what? Jake is talking right. Come on, Dave. You know you say stuff a weird way, not Jake. Just because you Aussies make full meals out of your vowels. I'm not hating on Jake. I'm just explaining that I legitimately thought that he had said run.
My accent confused him.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming for everybody on the podcast, Dave is the one with the accent.
Probably. Everybody listening right now? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
I don't know. We'll find out. Comment below.
Let us know. Let us know whose accent.
After you have liked the video and subscribed.
They're right on.
Don't forget to
there
do
you go.
that.
There we go. You got it.
Hooray, I almost forgot. But yes. Anyway, I think we've come to the end of the show. We're at an hour 25, so we'll wrap it up there.
What do you want to do next week?
Next week, I'd like to do. I'd like to take the opportunity for us to jump on the Hekaton Land Fortress and talk about the Leagues of Votann.
Okay.
Yeah.
We can do that. I really want the little vehicle, the one that looks like it looks like the Mako from Mass Effect.
Okay, cool.
That thing is fantastic.
Yep. It's no, definitely good. I think I'd like to jump in on that so that we can talk about Leagues of Votann, and not just Leagues of Votann, but talk about things that disappear that have been brought back, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, go down that kind of approach. I think that would be...
Like, he paints up a Zote.
Yeah, Zotes would be super cool. Ambles.
Nice.
Yeah, there's something else. There's going to be other things. But, yeah, that sort of theme. I'll come up with something and I'll do a post.
Okay.
But I think it'd be great to talk about the nostalgia mining, I guess, is the way to talk about it.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
What was old is new again.
Yeah, I think that there's we can go into this next week too, but like I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, "Oh, you know, it's so crazy. Like, there's all these like comic book movies, and they're releasing all this new stuff, and you know, it seems like a lot of this stuff was really cool when I was a kid." And I was like, "You understand why, right?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Okay, so all of the Gen Xers that are our age, that grew up watching this stuff, are now running those companies.
Yeah.
And they, like us, are like, hey, you know what's really cool? This thing that I liked when I was a kid. Like, I was like, it's not an accident that that's all happening. Like, it's deliberate.
But also all that stuff you liked as a kid, and you still like it. Now you have disposable income.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
But
great. Josh says the TMNT van.
Sure.
Yep. I don't know, but I am going to get super excited about that that Hecaton land fortress.
That thing, the jitney.
The
battle jitney.
The Herkimer battle jitney. No, I think certainly the Goliath truck from the Queens for the Colts is definitely that was based on the Herkimer battle jitney.
Yeah.
Which of course is a completely fictitious vehicle. It was only made for what was the name of it? Mystery Men.
Yeah.
Fantastic movie. There we go.
So good. The only other thing I wanted to bring up is if anybody gets a chance, if anybody hasn't, please go on to the Adepticon page and order a T-shirt to help support the Wapples.
Yep, Jim and Kathy Wappel.
Yeah, Jim and Kathy Wappel. I know that they've got some. We ordered some extras. We just submitted the order. We're going to try to complete everybody's order in the next couple of weeks, and then the plan is to ship everything out. So everybody should get their stuff either by the end of this month or within like the first, week or so of next month. But their shirts are super cool. Tim Toolin did the art for them. And then my company and a guy that I work with, we made them all. And the Adepticon guys are like doing all the heavy lifting and handling all like the collection and the shipping and all that stuff. But yeah, it's 100% for charity. Like we're not making a dime. None of us are getting paid. This is all just money to help them out. So
yep, cool. I will make sure that there's a link to that in the notes below as well. Awesome.
All right.
So
guys, thank you all so much for joining us. Dave and I really appreciate you guys being here and giving us a break for last week.
Yep.
But we will see you next week, and I'm sure Dave's got his sign off updates right now for everybody.
What? Oh yeah, but I've already did it. I already did it.
You did it once, but you always gotta
hit it again. I should have hit it at the front of the show and then again at the end of the show.
All right, you gotta bookmark it.
I'll learn. But yes, definitely like, subscribe, hit the little bell for notifications. Is there still a bell anymore? I don't
even know.
Who knows anymore? But and comment on the video once it's no longer live stream and it's just a video. But all of those things get it circulating through the algorithm and will help the channel grow. So we can continue to talk complete bollocks about a wide variety of things.
For sure.
Awesome.
For next week too. What happened? Why am I blurry? What happened?
Oh, well, you've been blurry all along, but you've just been small blurry.
Really?
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
Thanks for bringing it up now.
Well, what was I going to do halfway through? Let me stop the stream for a sec. We had enough of that in the first 6 weeks.
So the only other thing I would say for next week is so a couple of friends of mine and I sat down over the weekend and we were talking about ranking the Primarchs.
Oh, okay.
So we ranked them first to worst. So anybody who thinks that they want to chip in on this, Dave and I will make a I don't even know if there's a way to do that. I was gonna say I can make like a polling thing.
Okay.
But that won't work because it just shows like whoever has the most votes is number one.
Right.
And I guess I could rank them by strength of votes, but what's gonna happen is there's gonna be like 18 dudes with one.
Sure.
And then they'll be like
well, I think we can put a poll in the Facebook group and basically it'll be, who do you think that Jake is going to put first?
Oh, that's not even.
Okay, who do you think?
That should be tough.
Who do you think Jake is going to put last?
Oh, good one.
No, it's going to be Lorgar. Who do you think Jake is going to put it?
He is the worst.
He
is the worst.
We'll pick a delineator, and we'll put that in the poll. So check that out. First to worst. Oh my goodness, I can't believe we're doing that. Awesome. Right. So thank you very much for everybody for joining us. We will see you on another episode of Build Paint Play next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern. Bye. Oh, now I'm going to do all the other stuff. Can I get this ready?
Shut up and sit down. Shut up and sit down.